Back. Today I'm going to be sharing 5 tips for getting unstuck. So this series is about planning, so my examples will focus on planning, obviously, but some of these principles will definitely apply if you're stuck in other areas of your life. My first tip is to reframe. A lot of the barrier that we face, if you've had a habit that has been going well and all of a sudden you're not doing it anymore, it can be really hard to get back into it. And one of the things that we really will face is a lot of self-judgment, where you are just beating yourself up for not doing, why am I not doing this? I know this works. Why do I not do it? I've been away from my planner a lot of the summer, except for my little editorial calendar for Vlogust, which looks like a hot mess, I realize. I'm not gonna sit here and go through it. I jumped into like a very simple weekly planner at one point. It has like weeks like that. My summer is a little different. I don't have a ton of kid activities to manage. I've been walking a lot of extra dogs. One of our walkers was out of town. I visited her actual dogs and then several of her clients. So I usually have 2 clients, and over the summer, a lot of days I had 4 or 5. So that's just a lot more walking than I'm used to. I get my walking schedule in my phone. So I've really been relying more on my phone. The story that I needed to reframe really was that I'm not keeping up with my planning. And the truth is, I had a kind of summer where my schedule was I had to be very reactive. The only thing that I was really being self-directed about for the month of August was Vlogust. And guess what? I did that. Instead of saying I was off track on planning, I relied more heavily on the digital aspect and didn't do as much physical planning. Framing it that way helps me not come into it with a lot of self-criticism. Number 2 is to hook the changes you want to make to a time of transition. So for me, I've heard the expression, I think it's Gretchen Rubin who says, September is the other January. And I definitely get that. Like, my kids are in school, but even when my kids weren't in school, I get that it's like fall. It's time for fresh starts. Let's start something new. Whatever it is you want to do, whether it's great if you can use that momentum of a fresh start to get your habits where you want them to be. So for me, since my kids are going back to school, and my summer of a huge number of dogs just ended, and so I did get back into planning this week because I have a little more ability to be self-directed with how I'm spending my time. So those transitions make it easier, and then obviously with the kids in school and activities resuming, I do want to get back into physical planning. So now we're just back to school, back to fall, and back to planning. If you're moving, whatever you're doing, new year, whatever it is, using the momentum of feeling like you have a fresh start at something else is a great way to bring some positive energy to any changes you want to make. Number 3 is to seek accountability. And for me, a lot of that is honestly the YouTube channel. I knew I set up this week to be talking about getting unstuck because I wanted to get myself unstuck. A lot of people post their planning on Instagram. You can just have something that you post, even like your meal plan. I find that it helps to post that where the whole family can see it. You just feel more accountable to following through with it because it's like other people know I'm going to do this. Whatever means of accountability work for you in other aspects of your life, it's really helpful if you can bring those into your planning. Number 4, start small and simple. Still, do a tiny task. A lot of us have heard the expression about eating the frog, like do the worst part first. I'm going to say no. You can do something that's like really easy. For me, that's like scheduling my exercise classes. So when I sit down and schedule my exercise classes, that I do digitally anyway, but it's super easy. And then I have that feeling of like, I succeeded at something. That helps me maintain the energy to keep going and tackle the more involved tasks. So definitely just start with something easy. And number 5 is give yourself grace. I'm going to say so many times, progress, not perfection. Don't compare yourself to other people. Whatever small steps you are making to move in the direction that you want to take your life, that's good. And you're building momentum. Sometimes life gets in the way. I typically exercise most days, and the past 2 weeks I have not been able to. I got stung by a yellow jacket. I don't have like a big scary reaction. I have like a localized reaction, like this was my second one, and it's now not so red. You can see the hot. This was not even where I got stung. I got stung down here. My whole underside of my arm was red, and then I had a secondary hive there, which like kind of joined with everything else, and then the swelling went down past my elbow. I had 2 8 days apart. This one when I went in, the doctor thought it was infected, and then antibiotics kind of knocked me out. I'm taking Benadryl. My body's dealing with the allergic reaction. I wasn't able to exercise a lot. I just have to remind myself that I was taking care of myself. You have to not be too hard on yourself when life throws you a wrench. Sometimes we think being hard on ourselves is what it's going to take to get us back to where we want to be. But the truth is that being hard on yourself a lot of the time is actually what's blocking you from being able to rebuild the positive energy that you need to get to where you want to go. So just give yourself a little grace when things go wrong. That's what was meant to happen, and just meet it where you are. I will be back with another time management chat on September 14th and then every Friday thereafter. So this is the only day of Vlogust that I am recording on the day that it goes up. And my kids are home and I just had one more to do, and it was this one, and phew. If you're new to my channel, click subscribe below. See you tomorrow.